Hello, grade 11 students. We are going to work on page 4 in your statistics booklet and question number 1. I have it on the screen here and I'm going to read it out loud. Construct frequency tables to illustrate the average daily temperatures in Langley, British Columbia and Windsor, Ontario. And you have the data given to you for the average monthly temperatures. And so we should have 12 data values, and I've gone ahead and entered that into Desmos. So if we look at the top line, it says L, that would be my Langley, BC data. You can see I'm starting with 2.2, 4.4, and when I got to the end of my list, Desmos told me that I had 12 elements, so I knew I had them all. And I went ahead and I did the same thing for Windsor. Windsor equals square brackets, and then the 12 data values all typed out with a comma in between. So that'll take you a few minutes to do. And then once that's complete, you're going to make a histogram. So this question asks you to do a histogram in part B, but a frequency table in part A. And that's typically the way it's done if you're not using technology. But if you are using technology, the histogram will come first, if you're using a technology like Desmos. So we're going to type in histogram and a regular bracket, and then, oh, I spelled histogram wrong, so that's why it wasn't working. Histogram and a regular bracket, and it tells you data set, comma, bin width. Well, our data set is L, and our bin width is whatever we choose to be most appropriate. So we want to pick an interval that we're going to group our monthly temperatures into. So I'm suggesting that we pick 5 for this one. And we set our bin alignment at left. So here we can see our bars have appeared on the screen, and we go from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and all of the months for Langley, BC fall into those intervals. All right, now we're going to do a histogram for Windsor. Histogram, bracket, W, comma, 5. I want to set it up exactly the same, so I want it to be left. Now I've got bars on top of bars in my diagram, and then bars are also very small and in the lower left-hand side of the screen. So let's deal with the size of the way the screen appears. We want our screen to show most of our data, and on our x-axis we go from -5 to +25, so we want our x-axis to reflect that. It's set at -6.328. Just by zooming in and zooming out, it changes the setting. Okay, so sorry about the interruption. So I want to change my x-axis to be maybe around 30, which would allow me to see all the information but not have that extra space. And speaking of extra space, we've got a huge white area in the top part of our screen. So we don't need all of the y values that go from 5, 10, 15, 20. We want to take those away and maybe have it stop at maybe 7, something like that. It's very, you have to make up your mind on what works for you best. And then you can also use the zoom in, zoom out, but sometimes you actually have to change the graph settings. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off one of the histograms. I'll turn off the red one. And what I want to do right now is I want to make a, actually I'm going to turn the red one on and turn the black one off. I want to make a frequency table. And so I'm going to go to my top left-hand icon here, the plus sign, and add item, and I'm going to add a table. And it doesn't really matter where it appears. I'm just going to drag it down. And my first interval is from -5 to 0. So my job right now is to find out where is the middle of the interval. The middle of the interval from -5 to 0 is -2.5. If you don't know how to do that, you can just add the two numbers together and divide by 2, but I think you guys know how to do that. And the second interval is from 0 to +5, which puts the middle at 2.5, positive 2.5. And then the nice thing about Desmos is it starts to guess, sees that we're doing a job that is repetitive, and it says, and it guesses. If it guesses wrong, we can always ask it to change the number, and we can type over the number, but it guessed correctly. And now I'm going to read off my y-axis. So I want a dot right here in the middle of the interval at 3 on the y-axis. And then 2. And this is a nice, easy way to make a frequency table. And you can certainly see if you've made any errors. I want to maybe make the color of the dots match, so I'll maybe make it red, and I'm going to turn on lines. And now I've made a frequency table and a frequency polygon all at the same time. Okay. All right. So now we need to do a table for Langley, BC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the histogram for Windsor, turn off the frequency polygon for Windsor, and turn on the histogram for Langley, and insert a line on our table for Windsor, Y2. We could also make it black if we wanted our dots to match the colors of the bars. And we have to match up. Now, in the first interval, -5 to 0, there were no months where the temperature was an average temperature of that range. Then we had 3 months. Then we had 4 months, 3 months, and 2 months, and again, no months. So if we wanted to show a frequency polygon, that's how that would look. So this is for Windsor, the black bars and the black frequency polygon is for Windsor, and if I remove those by clicking them to be off, I can then look at the frequency polygon for, sorry, that was Windsor, and the one I showed you just before was Langley. Getting my cities mixed up. And if we want to look at them all at the same time, we turn on both histograms, on both frequency polygons, and our frequency table. Okay. And the last thing I want to show you is how to make axis labels. So the x-axis is our temperature in degrees Celsius. So back to our graph settings, the wrench, where we change the axis limits, we can also go and put a label, and our y-axis is frequency. And I might actually put the words average monthly temperature frequency. Okay. And it might be nice to be able to put some kind of legend to say that the black bars are Langley, BC, and the red bars and the red lines are Windsor, but I don't know how to do that right now at Desmos, and I'm not sure if it's an actual feature. But what I want you to do is to complete this question on your own, and when you have finished, I mean, you can use different colors, it doesn't have to be red and black, but when you have finished, I'd like you to take a screenshot and save it in a document for me to see, or just have me come around and look at your work.